have you with us, and this show is going to be fantastic. We've had a lot of people asking for information on this very topic that we're going to present today. But before we do that, I'd just like to remind you that all Angel Heart Radio programs are not designed to replace your legal, medical, or other professional advice or your own sound judgment. And it's really important that you remember that you're a divine being, that you're here on purpose, you're here by divine plan, and it's our joy to support you. So welcome to Angel Heart Radio. Good morning, Caroline Cross.
Good morning, Anaya Joy Lily. Oh, it's been a bit of an interesting morning so far, and I'm sure we're in for a really exciting show. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you all know Marney Perna, trusted kinesiologist and co-host on Angel Heart Radio for how many years now, Marney?
Well, I reckon we must be up to about 9.
I think so too.
Actually, now I'm adjusting my light here. Sorry, everyone. I'll
that's
stop.
Okay. No, that's all right. We can see you beautifully. So Marney is a kinesiologist. She works with the angels. She's an author. She's a facilitator, a speaker. Marney, you do a lot of work in the world to support people to really understand their own health and well-being and the ways that our bodies communicate with us to help us to live our best lives.
I do my best, and I do my best.
You do well. You do well. So a lot of people have been saying, why am I waking up at 3 o'clock or 4:15 or 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock every single night? I'm over it. So if you were watching this anywhere else but on our Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, on Facebook, obviously, or on YouTube, please come and watch this on Angel Heart Radio on Facebook or YouTube. And I'm just opening our Restream chat because we'll be able to see your comments. You can ask Marney, why am I waking up at a particular time? And Marney can assist you and have a conversation with you. And Gabby's with us. Yay. Hi, Gabby.
Morning, Gabby.
So why are people waking up? Let's say it is, I think Stacey Hewish said 3 a.m. for her. And
3 a.m. or 12 o'clock?
I think she said 3 a.m. You carry on.
Yeah.
I seem to get to the view I want to. Carry on.
All right. So can I just explain a little bit about the meridian system first, if that's all right? That might help a little bit. So kinesiology is one of the natural therapy modalities, and we align very closely, or we operate under the pyramid of Chinese philosophy. And part of the Chinese natural medical theme is meridians. Now, meridians are channels of energy that operate through your body and around your body. They're very regulated, so they like to be on time and in order. So I liken them to an army family. All right. So with the meridians, Marneyisms. So some of these are Marneyisms. All right. Some of them are not in journals. So I believe they're Marneyisms. So we have a central and a governing, and I believe them to be the. So I call central mum and I call governing dad. Now, central goes from the pubic bone in an upward motion right through the midline of the body and stops just in the dip of your chin, on the bottom of your chin here. All right. Now, its job or its duty, that's it, Anaya, perfect, is to look after the energy of the brain. All right. Governing meridian starts on your coccyx, on your lower tailbone, comes all the way up your spine till it comes over the top of your head, and it ends just under your nose. So the top, just on the top of your nose, or on your lips on top and bottom, are the ends of the governing and central meridian. Now, governing looks after the spine. So medically, if your spine and your brain are not operating or talking to each other, you're not doing so well. All right, it makes life a lot harder. All right, so they're the parent meridians, but then you've got 12 of the what I call the next lot of meridians, and they're the big family, so they're all the brothers and sisters. And each 2 hours in a 24-hour time clock, a meridian has its highest energy. All right, so we've got everyone there. So just using for an example, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at night, in the afternoon, is the heart's meridian. So it's meant to be in full power at that time. Now, it's opposite o'clock, which is like 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. or PM to 1 AM is gallbladder's time. But that time is the time for the heart to recharge. So you have your power 2 hours and you have your depower 2 hours. Right? And what happens with the Chinese clock, it goes around on a 24-hour cycle. And once the heart is over, it hands it over to small intestine. And this is operated. Anyone can Google the Chinese meridian clock. Mm-hmm. And it will show you the time, the 2-hour time slot that a meridian is in charge. And all you have to do is understand that the opposite 2 hours is its recharge time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And doesn't that make it so easy to actually understand what's happening for us personally?
Yes. Yeah. And remember that the name of the organ, so every meridian looks after an organ. So they have the main organ that they look after, but then they also have a series of muscles that are connected to those organs as well. Not physically connected, but connected through the Chinese philosophy have worked out already. No one else had to do it. It's already there. Certain muscles belong to certain meridians. Mm-hmm. Okay, so lung meridian has one of the big shoulder muscles. Spleen is your big supporting muscle of your back, latissimus dorsi. So they're all grouped and they all kind of work in together, and collectively they ensure that the organ works really well. So we're not talking the medical model here. We're talking about the metaphysical aspect of the organs and what they do. Now, someone said to me once, I said, oh, that's in the gallbladder meridian. And they said, I haven't got a gallbladder. And I'm like, well, that's okay. You've still got the energy of the gallbladder. All right, you might have the physical, but it's a bit like that Carolyn photography. Even though it's gone, the energy is still there. Exactly. All right, so it doesn't mean that your physical organ is or is not there. It just means that's the organ that looks after these particular time slots. So that also helps you understand a little bit when you look at what time of the day it is. You can look at what organ it is and then say, okay, well, is this organ in good health or not? Or is the energy of the organ in good health? And the other contributing factor that kinesiologists use all the time are the emotions. So each meridian have prime emotions. That's their job. When that emotion shows up, that organ is meant to be looking after it. Now, sometimes and this is where the family squabbles a little bit. So one organ or one meridian might be in charge because the emotion is there, but then a stronger emotion comes through. And the meridian that owns that emotion says, hey, get out of the way. That's my job. So it kind of kicks it out of the way and causes a bit of chaos. And you only need one meridian to be out of sync to create disharmony in the whole shebang.
Okay, so we can see again, like everything else, it's all about balance.
And harmony.
And harmony. And those two together equal peace.
Yeah.
Peace in the emotions, peace in the mind, peace in our lives.
Yeah. And they help us to understand why sometimes we feel like we do.
Which is really important, Marnie, isn't it? Because how often we do a checklist, everything's fine here, I'm not fighting with anyone, finances are fine, whatever, work's fine, whatever. And we don't understand. But now we can see, okay, so there is a way of understanding behind what the obvious is.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, great.
And sometimes it might mean that the physical organ is tired, or it helps you to understand why the physical organ, like they often, we were sort of mentioned when we were training that to have a heart attack, if you have a heart attack in the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. time slot, you've got a better chance of survival than if you have it at the 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. time slot. Because remember, it's under charge at that time. And I explain to my clients now, because most people have a mobile phone. Think of your mobile phone. When the battery's running down, it doesn't matter how nice you talk to it. If you try and do something like upload a photo or look at something, it'll close.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So it needs to plug into power. And also, too, sometimes our batteries are not working as well. So even though we plug it into power, it doesn't hold that power. And that's where the meridian as a family come together and support the organ that's being looked after.
That is a really great analogy with the mobile phone, the battery charging. Hey, Jolene, Gabby is saying great analogy as well.
Thank you.
Helen Harris is listening while she's working. Welcome, Helen. If you're listening anywhere else, everyone watching anywhere else, head on over to Angel Heart Radio on Facebook or on YouTube so we can see your comments. And ask Marney if you're waking up at a certain time.
Yeah. So did we establish that Stacey's was 3 o'clock in the morning?
3 o'clock in the morning, and she's not getting back to sleep until between 5 and 6. And also Gabby is waking up between 3 and 4. So kind of around the same time. So
the 3 a.m. time slot is a shared one. So you have like a meridian channel 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., which is your liver. But then you've got 3 a.m. till 5 a.m. is lungs. So it kind of overlaps that little bit.
Yep.
So just remember, so the liver is all about detoxification. Okay, it's supposed to be cleansing. So if it's its prime time between 1 and 3 and you're waking up closer to the beginning of 3 o'clock, maybe the liver is working too hard and it's being over challenged in what it's doing. So it's waking you up, trying to, because we wake up because we get a message from the brain to say wake up for whatever reason. Now, sometimes it's habitual as well. So we can create a habit very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So something I also encourage some of my clients sometimes is if you wake up at that time, don't try and snuggle back into the same spot because you're on the same point on the universe. So change, get up and turn the pillow around or swap sides of the bed or do something that's a little bit different.
That makes so much sense because that's happened to me. I've woken up and I can't get back to sleep, and it's not until I change my pillow and flap things around a bit that
we're comfortable. Yeah, we go back into where it's comfortable, but that's where we've woken up.
Yeah, we got the message while we were comfortable, so we need to move around.
So we need to move around a little bit. And also too, just remember that everything forms a habit, but it also forms a file in your filing cabinet of your brain.
Yeah.
And when an annoyance is a larger annoyance, the file starts really quickly. So each time then you wake up again, the next time at that time, it goes, oh yeah, I've got a file on that. It will just flick back to our default response, which is annoyance.
It's sort of like the cookies when we go looking for something on the internet. You know, you've typed in something and it's remembered one. And so but you've got to go to a different one because you've got to put it slightly different because you're not looking at the same thing again.
Yeah. So you've got to do a combination of things sometimes. But if you can identify the meridian that's involved, so for the 3 o'clock people, it's either liver or lungs. And the lungs could be you're not breathing as clearly, so you've spent all night snoring, or you know it's not as comfortable, so your mouth's a bit dry. So is it possible to go and have a drink of water, hold the water in your mouth for about 5 seconds, let the cells know hydration is there, and then go back to bed? Right? But also go back to bed not with the thought, oh my God, I hope I get to sleep. Go back with the thought of I will get to sleep, or I sleep easily and happily. Because it's a combination of things that you have to do to create that new pathway. So they're all neural pathways. All right. Now, the emotion for I'm going to pick on lungs for the girls because it goes 3 till 5 a.m. Okay. Whereas so I think it's kicked over to the next cycle, which is your lung cycle. All right, so the lung is in the metal element of the Chinese philosophy, so that means it's in the silver element, silver or white, depending on what your charts are. Okay, it's paired with large intestine, so that's the pair that work in the metal element of Chinese philosophy. Now, the lungs, so the emotions that's in lungs, so I'm just going to read them out and just listen, and one of them will make a little bit of sense to you. So the emotion could be cheerful, depressed, false pride, haughty, humility, modesty, openness, disdain, intolerance, prejudiced, contempt, smothered, unfulfilled, stoical, and scorn. So they're the main emotions that lung looks after. Okay, so when you wake up, are you feeling as though you're out of breath? That's the first thing to ask. Are you waking up because you're not breathing clearly? Do you need to expand your lungs a little bit? Do you need to do a bit of a stretch and open your rib cage so that your diaphragm's not compacted? Right, because that's all part of the breathing element. Yeah. So is there something you can take a whiff of? Have you got some nice peppermint oil or eucalyptus or something like that? If you take a smell of it, it kind of encourages you to take that deep breath. right? Because you're opening up the lung capacity. You're moving it open. Also, too, when you're sleeping, sometimes we sleep curled up, and that contracts the rib cage. So maybe the rib cage needs to be opened up. But it's also about what emotion is the lungs talking to you about, and that's that smothered, closed feeling. So are you feeling compacted by life? So think of what the organ also does in its physical sense. Okay, so lung expands and contracts, it goes up and down, it gives you sustaining life. With the liver, if the liver's not working, so remember they're kind of cojoined in the time slot. If liver's not detoxifying enough, you're getting stale blood. The blood's not getting the oxygen, so you need the oxygen to come in to help the liver do its job of cleansing, because you need that oxygen going through your blood as well.
So I guess people in that situation probably wake up with a headache as well.
Yeah, if they wake up with headache, it's definitely liver. Yeah, liver is headache, because the liver comes in it's in the Chinese philosophy of wood. Okay, now it's in the green. Now it's also often, so with Chinese philosophy, you have the outside circle of the meridian. So there are 5 circles, right? You have the outside circle and you have the inside. Now I get confused about which is the names of the ins and the outs. And I've got a book that tell me once you get confused once, you always self-doubt yourself, all right?
Yeah,
what
I did in the filing cabinet, didn't you, Marnie?
Yeah, it's in there. Now I've got books and charts. I'm sitting here looking at all my charts on my wall, so I'm in heaven here. I don't have to fully remember everything. But I do know that with the Chinese, if it goes around the outside, lung supports kidney. But as the granddaughter to the grandmother, which is the inside circle, lung supports the liver.
Okay, so you can see how connected everything is, even though on first examination it may not seem to be as connected as
so both the liver and the lung are the inside circle of the Chinese elements. Okay. Now liver and gallbladder, they're your storage point of toxic emotions. So they're the heavy duty. You don't get the nice, comfortable kind of emotions in liver, gallbladder, because the Chinese element of wood is also your grounding element. So it's where you're not feeling balanced on the earth or connected. But you don't have any mamby-pamby kind of emotions in liver, gallbladder. They're all full on.
They're all full on. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, when you consider the structure and the power, importance of liver. And even I'm thinking anyway, when people have liver surgery and have massive amounts of their liver removed, it can regenerate. It regenerates very well for most people.
It does. So as an organ, it's very clever. Yeah. And remember, it filters the blood for you. It takes out the toxins out of the body.
Yeah. So Gabby's saying she does snore. She does sleep curl up in a ball, and she's wondering about too much tea before bed. So I guess you're talking about caffeine tea, Gabby. Let us know about that. And the other thing she says, oh, Gabby, that's why you wake up with a headache after too much red wine. You're not happy.
I think you need to bless the red wine as you're drinking it. Bless our food. Like if you enjoy that cup of tea at night and it's part of your pleasure, thank it. Say thank you so much for allowing me to have this cup of tea, and that way it's not a guilt aspect that if I have this I mightn't sleep. Well, you're preempting it straight away. So set your intentions for a good night's sleep. I've just done a blog article on sleep. Actually, it's on my website. You'll find does stress cause you not to sleep, sort of thing. So it's a little bit of an article on some of the things you can do that's intentional to set the scene for a good night's sleep.
Right. So that's Kinique, KINIQUE, Kinique.com. If you don't remember that, that's fine. It's in the link there. Yeah. And the other thing too is when you have a look at the Facebook posts, you will see Marnie's contact there as well. So you'll get Marnie on Facebook as Marney Perna, PERNA. You'll get Marnie as Kinique, uniquely for you kinesiology. Is that right?
Yep.
On Facebook as well, and Kinique.com. So Marnie's got lots of resources there, and you can work with Marnie as well. So what happens then when, okay, so we can see that that's the meridian. I know you've already told me this, but I've been doing the
typing. Yeah. So the meridian owns a muscle. It looks after an organ. It has muscles that are connected with it, and it also has emotions that it's their duty when that emotion comes up.
Okay, so when people then are able to sleep, go back to sleep at between 5 and 6, as Stacey has stated, that's then out of the liver meridian, is that correct?
5 to 6 in the morning is gone into large intestine.
Large intestine. Okay, so she's out of the liver. Stacey, when you're watching this, you're out of your liver meridian when it's supposed to be recharging and filtering. I mean, to be able to.
It's in charge, yeah.
So you're in Australia, Stacey, so you could even reach out to Marney as well. You know,
Stacey knows me, so she knows she can call out. So just remember that that it's all about the emotion. So when you wake up, apart from the frustration, right? So don't think of that as the emotion, but from the emotion, what is the main emotion that you're feeling?
Yeah.
If you can if you can think of what was my thought as I woke up. So just remember, it is habitual.
Yeah,
so, absolutely. And what you need to do, sometimes you need to build on that bit by bit. I once did a talk at an old age facility. I had a captive audience. It was marvellous. Half of them were in wheelchairs. Get away. And it was early on in my time when I was chatting to people. And one man, I said, you've always got to be happy about what's going on in life, or flip the card over and make something comical. And he was a really grumpy man, and he said, well, how can I be happy? I woke up 3 times. And I looked at him, I said, oh, how awesome was that? And he looked at me. If he could have hit me, he would have, I think. But he thought of it. He said, how can that be awesome? And I said, I only get 1 sleep. You get 4. Oh, he said, that's ridiculous. I said, I know. And that's what you've got to do, is make light of it sometimes, because the more you get annoyed about it, the bigger that file gets. Absolutely. And the annoyed file, and the brain seems to register more when it's a negative experience than a positive experience, because it's a higher weighting of energy. A negative energy, megahertz, when you're dealing with megahertz, is really, really heavy. A positive one is lighter, so you take more positive to overcome the negative. So I just said to him, you've got to laugh at yourself, because what's the point if it happens to him all the time? And like, you can't change that with the elderly. They're going to wake up lots of time. But what you need to be able to say is, okay, did I wake up 5 seconds later or 5 minutes later? Oh, that was awesome. I'm going to bank that. So bank the positive. And you get to a stage that it just becomes a part of who you are, unless there's a challenge or a problem. So his was just structural. He was elderly. He couldn't sleep as long. He kind of dozed all day anyhow. So it wasn't as if his body was used to having long sleeps at any one time.
Yeah.
So, Marney, I used to always wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get a bit frustrated by that. So then, because I sleep on my side, I sleep in the fetal position at night. And so what I did was, then I would say to myself, okay, this is your opportunity to meditate. It's there's no noise, unless Barry was snoring. But other than that, there's no noise. And so then I started to relax into the fact of waking up at that hour. And lately, I haven't been waking up at that hour.
No, because it changed from being the annoyed thing to looking forward to it. So everybody says, oh, there's no point reminding you because you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And little things too make a big difference for me. Like, I found, 2 things, actually. I found I didn't sleep 2 nights a week. And of course, it was because I had my phone on airplane mode for the alarm. Hello. And so, the frequency of that was keeping me awake. So when I finally got it, first of all, what I did was I turned my phone off, moved it away, got myself a little battery clock.
Yeah.
So that made a massive difference. But then the other thing I noticed I was doing is I was thinking, what if it's time to wake up? I got to go to the loo and think, oh, I wonder how long left I've got to sleep. And then I wasn't sleeping. So what I chose to do in that situation then, because I couldn't get back to sleep, was I said to myself, okay, so you won't sleep, Anaya, but you will. No, I didn't say that at all. Okay, Anaya, if you don't go to sleep, you will rest. And once I rested into that, it was easy just to drift off. And on the off morning where I didn't drift off again, I didn't have that internal conflict going on because, you know, I had to be up in an hour and a half, and, you know, I didn't want to be awake at 4 a.m. So there is that definitely that mental thing. Helen often wake up at 3:30 and do a heart chakra meditation.
Okay,
I love that special time of the morning. And we've got Nicole with us. Welcome, Nicole. Today we're talking about when we wake up at particular times of the mornings, and it gets to be a bit of a pattern, and something, it might be 3 a.m. or 2:15 or 1:30 or whatever it is, what it is our bodies are actually saying to us at that time. Why are we waking up, and what we can do to support ourselves, what we need to know about what's happening with the meridians in our body and the organs in our body, and what the emotions attached to that are. Yeah. So if you are waking up and you'd like to know what Marney, who is our trusted kinesiologist, can share with you about that and support you with that, please just pop it in the chat, in the comments.
So remember, we spoke earlier about that you have your prime time, but then you have the time that you're in plugging into power. Now, an interesting thing about the 3 till 5 a.m. time slot, that's bladder's weakest time.
Okay.
Okay, so bladder at that stage is trying to charge, and a lot of children will wet the bed at that time because the bladder's it hasn't got its full capacity, and it's not working quite as well, and it's a time slot where they don't get the message, or they might get the message they're on the toilet.
Yes, I've actually done that as an adult and wet the bed.
I know. And you go, oh my God. It happened to me once. I was visiting with my dad to Tassie. We were going down to Tassie to see his aunt, and we stayed in this hotel that was upside down. Like the bedrooms were downstairs and the toilets were upstairs. And you know, you're in a totally different setup. And for some reason, I didn't get the warning message. And when I got it, I was desperate. So I went to go to the toilet, but I had to go upstairs. I'm falling up the stairs trying to get upstairs to the toilet, thinking this is ridiculous. So yeah, so even it's children, even adults still have that dream, and it's usually, if you can remind your body that if the dreams are making it difficult to go to the toilet, like the door keeps flying open, or you find a toilet but there's no toilet there, so it's where you can't find the toilet in your dreams, they're really trying to get the message to get up, because they're making it difficult for you to sit on one and go to the toilet, because they know that's challenging.
Yes, exactly. And Belinda Brown's with us. Hi, Bill. Any ideas why even in this cooler weather, I wake soaking in a sweat? It is so awful. Are there any particular times that this is happening for you, Bill? Nicole says I often just wake up very early, like 4 a.m. I go outside at 6:30 and she starts her day. So Nicole's waking up.
You can ask permission. You can ask permission from your body to make it 10 minutes later or 15, because everything's habitual. You know, if someone's used to getting up at 4:30, it'd kill me. I do it a few times when I've got to take people to medical appointments and stuff, but early morning's not my prime time. I like my bed. But you can sort of say to your body, look, I know I'm getting up early, but how about we have another half hour or something like that. Now, with your mobile phone, something you said then too, Anaya, is if the mobile phone, and some of us have to have the phone beside the bed for whatever reason. They might have it because they need, in case someone needs help, they can ring them. When I cared for my mum, I needed to be able to hear the phone and get to it quickly if she needed help and stuff. So you can use different crystals to stop some of that electromagnetic radiation interference going on. All right, so you can put a, the amethyst cluster, the one where it's like it's come off the rock. So it's got that dark, crusty bit at the bottom, and it's got the little peaks, you can get chunks of it. And they're not really expensive to get, but put a piece of that between you and your phone.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, you can, I think mica is another thing you can use sometimes. You can use mica on computers, I know, to stop electromagnetic radiation as well. But, put something between you and the phone that's a bit of a blockage. You know, Himalayan salt crystal can work for that as well. So your phone's still nearby, but it's not directly giving you giving you that thing. You can buy little pouches, you know, the little EDF pouches and stuff that you put your credit cards into to stop people taking your information. You can use something like that on your phone, which will stop that transference again of the electromagnetic radiation. There's things out there that you can find. I have a little sticker on my phone. It's a little sticker up the top there, and it's supposed to help with electromagnetic radiation as well. You can buy them in a lot of health shops.
Yeah. Now, Nicole,
so if you do need your phone, go on.
Nicole joined us later in the show, so she may not have heard about what the 4 a.m. So it's a good idea to go watch the whole thing, but maybe Marnie can do a recap for you.
The 4 a.m. is lungs.
So at 4 p.m. it's working
with bladder.
It's supposed to be charging.
Yeah, the bladder's charging, but the lungs are in power. So the lung, one of the prime negative things is lungs. So obviously cheerful and cheerful wouldn't be it. Although if cheerful comes up as an emotion, it might mean that it's a lack in your life. So things are not as cheerful as they should be. Because when you laugh a lot, you breathe, you're expanding your lungs and your capacity. But quite often it is that feeling of being smothered. So if you're not feeling smothered physically, who's smothering you energetically? Who's draining the energy out of you?
A good thought. Yeah.
Okay, so it could be a thing or a person or a situation. So at the moment, a lot of people are feeling very overwhelmed with the current circumstances in the world. And it's been compacted by added disasters that are going on as well. So it's not just the thing that's happening. So you need to be able to put yourself in a little bubble. I know a concept that you can use to help yourself, and it's bizarre, but it's a bit fun, is wrap yourself in bubble wrap and shelter yourself from all the things. And you have a bit of fun clicking them while you've got it around you. You know, so what can you do to protect yourself?
Something really interesting like that. She doesn't do it in bubble wrap, but she does it in a green jelly substance.
Oh, good.
So what happens is all of those negative thoughts then come in and they bounce off the green jelly and go back again. So she said they don't ever enter. And she said, I do it green because it's the healing colour.
It is, yeah. It's a heart chakra colour as well.
Yeah.
And
So that's another one too.
Okay. Yeah. So Nicole also pees a lot, and she said she has a possible lung problem or maybe throat. She coughs a lot badly. So I just asked her, does she have a postnasal drip as well? Any feedback on that for Nicole, Marnie?
The main thing is again, it's you're compacting your diaphragm and your lung. So coughing, you're putting a lot of pressure on it. Okay, so you need to be able to see what you can do to settle that down. And sometimes too, something I've experienced as well is when you cough, especially if you've got a lot of that insistent, like it's not a productive cough, it's just a cough, but it's quite strong. Okay, so if you think of you coughing up here, it's putting a lot of pressure also on the muscles of your bladder. Because you just think about it, the pressure of the cough can actually put pressure on the muscle of the bladder. So maybe do a little bit of the pelvic floor exercises in the bladder. So when you are going to the toilet, see if you can stop midstream and hold it. It's the weirdest thing to try and explain, but most women know what you're talking about.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, we do.
Hang on to it if you can and then let it go. And if you don't do it for very long, just momentarily stop the flow and get some of the control back into the bladder. Now, bladder is, and I'm going to swear, but it's a gentle swearing. When the bladder is really, really annoyed, you feel very pissed off. So who or what is doing that to you?
It's so true. And I found the same to be true with actually an abscess. For me, it was anger and resentment. And it's so true because when I started dressing that and using, I find Ho'oponopono fantastic. So think of the person, the event, the situation. Every time it pops into my mind, it's like, I'm sorry. If it's a person, I use their name.
Yeah.
I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Regardless of what's happening. And oh my gosh, it has such an amazing effect so very, very quickly. So maybe she's always peed off. There you go, darling. Look at you.
So find out who it is and what you can do about it. Can you put all of the I'm all about simple if you can, all right, but creative a little bit as well. So get a paper bag, normal paper bag. Don't be worried about what color it is. Don't make that the issue. Just get a paper bag. On the paper bag, get a Nico pen and write all the annoyance factors of what's peeing you off on that paper bag. All right, so you're writing all over it. You can fill it up. You can write 5 things. You can write 25 things. Just don't write 100 because that's getting over you're really getting into it, then you're adding to it. So write as many, I'd say limit it to 10. 10 things about
the main ones.
That's annoying you. And don't control your mind. Just write them. Don't try and be perfect. When you're finished, get it in your hand as if you're going to blow it up, because you are. Sit on a chair. Do not do this standing up because you'll get lightheaded. Blow in and out of the paper bag with the paper bag over your nose and your mouth so that you're sucking it in and pushing it out. Okay? When you've done that, and the angels are telling me at the moment it's 7 times in and out. So breathe in, breathe out 7 times. Hang on to the paper bag. And with whatever hand you're not hanging on to the paper bag with, burst the paper bag. It will echo in the room wherever you're doing it. It'll just go bang. It's marvelous. When you've done that, scrunch it up and throw it over your shoulder. Now, for the people who think, oh my God, I can't do that, I've got to go and put it in the rubbish bin, we're talking about releasing it without conditions and not controlling what's going on. So just throw it in the air. You can pick it up later.
Yeah.
But for now, it's that reckless abandonment. Put it into the bag. Breathe out all your annoyance. Let it go. You've captured it. You're bursting it. You're letting it go. Throw the bag away. Go and pick it up later if that's your bin. All right. And see whether that helps you having addressed what that challenge is about. Give thanks and move on. And you will find that helps to capture a lot of that strong annoyance, because you're blowing in and out of the paper bag. You're using inhalation, exhalation as well. So you're working on, when we're annoyed and we take something on, we often take a breath in. That upset me. So you'll take a breath. You hurt yourself, you breathe in. If you do the healing on the breathe out cycle, it's kind of addressing the issue. So you're sedating the shock. Yeah. Right? Paper bag. It's called. Can't remember.
Well, the paper bag
PDF.
And I love the paper bag because it's, it is completely biodegradable.
Yeah. And you can get it. I mean, if you don't have to go and buy a paper, I've got them because I had kids at school and they had tuck shop bags. Yeah. But I've also got some very lovely spotty ones that I found. So I'm like, oh, that'll be nice. I'll have them for my paper bag technique. Because sometimes when I'm doing workshops, I might use that as a workshop release. So I, usually put it with the instruction on how to do it. So it's easy. It may not be on my website, but please reach out if you want some more information, and I'll send you the PDF.
There you go. Nicole, I'm putting that website address in the chat for you right now. And it's for everyone else. It is Kinique, Kinique. I'll say that again. Kinique.com. You'll find Kinique on Facebook. Have you got a YouTube channel, Marney?
I have. Yes, come and find me on YouTube. I think it's Marney Perna. I'm building my YouTube. I think I've got
fantastic. Okay, so it's Marney, Marney, Perna, but you've got to put a C in the middle. So Marney.
I think so. Yeah, I think I have to.
C in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. And if you can't find it, let us know on Facebook. We'll
find you. I'll tag you.
Yeah, guys. We'll sort you out. Don't worry about it.
We'll find you one way or another.
Exactly. Yes.
I feel like it's got to be your turn to speak, Carol Ann.
Absolutely.
Well, what have I got to say? I just love listening to all of this metaphysical stuff, because we learn all of that in Reiki, and I've done Nutripuncture and psychic healing and all of those things. So learn all of that stuff in there, and it's so good to hear it once again and be refreshed on all of it. And you have just such a easy, simple way of explaining that. And I can remember using the paper bag technique when I was very young. It wasn't for an anger, but the doctor came to see me and I wasn't breathing correctly. I was about 12, I think, at the time. And he used that paper bag thing for me to concentrate more on my lungs. And he said it's a very good thing for you to do. And so I have used it a couple of times when I've been stressed, but not in the later years. But when I was younger, I did. So it's really great to hear you talking about all these different ones, because I think the more we can hear about it, the more, even if we have a bit of an understanding, to have it refreshed and to hear it put in a different way, it's always very, very handy. So yeah.
And the simples. Don't you agree, Caroline? The simple are the best. Like when someone
definitely. We don't need to complicate our lives with all of the things that we complicate them with. Simple is easy. It's like your meridians. You know, they're simple, and the organs and what the metaphysics are. I smiled when you were saying that about liver, because I always associate liver with anger. And so, you know, that to me is the first emotion I think of with liver. But, you know, to have all of these things refreshed and put in a simple way. People complicate their lives, and it's not necessary to complicate your life. So
I think that's the biggest thing with kinesiology, Caroline, is you don't come up with something new for people, but you identify something they're feeling and it makes sense to them. Like, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel.
And this is it. They say to you, oh, why couldn't I think that? Because it's so simple. But sometimes we just need that little reminder, don't we, that it is simple, and just to think about it. And I think it's great. Yeah. Good. Okay. Great to be talking with you today, Marney.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, it's really interesting how our lives are interwoven.
I know.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were at a friend's birthday party, and neither of us knew that they knew the other person. And Caroline, I know you. It was so random.
It was great.
Now, listen, guys, we've got Carolyn in the comments saying Carolyn wakes up every hour, and she's grateful if she gets 2 hours sleep.
Okay.
At a time. So how can we help Caroline?
Okay, so Carolyn, I need to know, is it a specific time in the hour, or is it regularly, or why?
So like, do you start waking up at a certain time? Is it 1 o'clock every morning, 2 o'clock every morning? What is it? Yeah.
It might mean you're not getting into a nice rhythm. So someone that wakes up that regularly for no reason, like some people with young babies wake up that regularly because they're on edge. So maybe that's something too. If it's not a physical thing that's going on with you, think metaphysically. So why are you not feeling safe? That's the first thing that came to my mind then, is you're not feeling safe. So because you're not feeling safe, you're not feeling comfortable to go into a deep sleep because you're on edge all the time. So you're waiting for something to happen. So you need to secure your room as a safe place for you to be.
Yeah. Now, while we're waiting for the info from Carolyn, Belle has reminded me she's waiting for something. Belle, darling, I'm looking through. We've got such a lot of comments in here. Can you please refresh my memory so we can...
I thought Belle's was the lung one.
I thought Belle's was the lung one. Oh, yes. Now, Belle said something. I'm so sorry. There's so much information coming in and out of my head, and I'm posting links and your YouTube videos.
You're doing very well.
All the rest of it. So Belle says she sleeps with a fan on full and window open.
Oh, she gets the hot flushes. Yeah. Right. Yeah, hot flushes is hormonal. The sweats, okay. Yeah. Well, it's hot flushes. It just means for some reason your body is expelling toxins through your skin. All right. When we sweat, our body has said we don't need what's inside, so it pushes it out to the outside. So it's almost a cleansing regime that's going on. Is it associated with hot sweats, as like hot flushes as well, or is it purely sweating?
Okay, so purely sweating. And have you been through menopause, Belle? Is probably another good question to have an answer. And it's every night for Belle. Every night.
It's really hard. I know with you ladies will possibly relate to me and possibly not, but you get into bed and you go, oh, this is lovely. I'm going to cuddle up under the covers, and I think within 5 seconds one foot's out, and then 5 seconds later the other foot's out, then you throw the covers off and you go, oh, all I want to do is snuggle and I can't. and luckily it does settle. But circ 6 is the meridian that deals with the hormonal response within the body. All right. So the emotion that I'm getting here is responsibility. So what's going on in your life that is causing you to feel responsible for other people? So why is responsibility for you at the moment a challenge?
Okay. So Belle says she's only 52, but she went through menopause at 30.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, oh gosh, that's a very early. I thought I was early at 42 and mum at 32. Okay, so what's causing you to feel the over responsibility, Belle? Does this connect with you for a start? How do you feel about that?
And it is about detoxing. So look, there's a point. So because the liver talks about detoxing, and the liver was the 1 till 3 o'clock in the morning kind of thing where it's in charge. Now its lowest point is 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So maybe when it's low, you can support the liver. Now, something you can do with the liver is it's a weird point, right? So each meridian has certain points on it that looks after things like neurolymphatic, which is your detoxing, the emotional side of life, and the neurovascular, which is all about your head, right? So with liver, what I find a lot of times is that there's an emotional blockage, or there's a blockage in the emotional center of the liver meridian. So I'm saying that liver needs support between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. Now, what you can do is just rub your hands together like I am at the moment and create friction. And then I want you to take your hand and just cup the inside of your ankle. Okay, now it doesn't matter right or left because you're going to do both. So do whichever one is more comfortable. So just lift your foot on your knee if you can, and if you can't, bend down or put your leg up somewhere and cup the inside of your ankle so that your little finger is at least touching your ankle bone. You will get the point. It's called liver 4, but rather than worry about have I got the right point, your hand is a perfect size to capture any point that it needs to. But just above the ankle bone on the inside of the ankle is the point for liver 4, which is the emotional storage center of negative and toxic emotions.
Wow.
So if liver is recharging between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, it may just need some extra support to help it recharge. Archangel Michael is very good for the liver because he's green as well. Oh, he's not green, but his color is green. And he's very good about helping us with emotional baggage and stuff like that. So you maybe could hand stuff over to Archangel Michael, but at the same time, do this with your hands, get nice and warm, and cup the inside of your ankle with your hand. And I have found, rather than complicating affirmations, I love affirmations, but people in the moment of need forget them. Mm-hmm. Tell yourself you're safe. Tell the liver that it's okay for it to charge to full capacity, and see whether you can help it with the charging. Right? That might help it to do the detoxification process a little bit easier. There's certain herbs that go well with liver for detoxing. There's milk thistle is one that can be helpful, and it's quite gentle. It's not a strong herb. Sometimes you can use an essential oil and put that on it, maybe rosemary, but rosemary is very strong, so be very careful with rosemary. It can burn a little bit, so you might need a carrier oil. But hold that, tell the liver it's okay to charge, and see whether supporting the liver in the afternoon helps you then to, I'm being told, dandelion tea. So if you're into dandelion tea, have dandelion tea. Dandelion and thistle, I think you can get as a tea, and that's also supportive for the liver. All right.
But the other thing that's coming through for me really clearly, sorry, Marnie, I'll come back to you, but they just keep saying, say it now, is tell your liver you are loved and you love your liver. It feels really strong. And because I know
that, cupping it.
Yeah. So, and because I know you, I sort of wasn't going to say anything because I know you, but no, it's important. So sorry,
and just see whether that helps. And what you need to do is you're going to build up a response. So if you maybe wake up and you're not as sweaty, you go, oh, thank God it's working. Add to it. So then you're supporting what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what are the worries? You know, the don't sweat the small stuff thing is popping in as well. So we're worried about, you know, because we have all these, our bodies are so amazing. Like me with the abscess in my tooth, and I had that abscess for a year. Antibiotics after antibiotics after antibiotics, and then it was recommended that I have it removed. And this is tooth here, so you can see the dumping. To have it removed, not to have it replaced with anything. And so then when I started doing the energy work and had a fantastic clearing with Grace Hom, boom, off it went. And I didn't have it for a year. And then a couple of weeks ago, it started again. I thought, okay, so again, it was anger and resentment. I was trying not to be angry, and I was resenting someone. Started working with that. It's gone. Yeah. No antibiotics, no nothing. So this energy work is really powerful, Marney, and I love how you're saying about connecting with your body, like rubbing your hands around your ankle, all the other things. We're connecting with our bodies because sometimes we're very disconnected, aren't we? You don't look at ourselves in the mirror. You don't want to see yourself naked, you know, all of those sorts of things. And we've got to bring all that round now and be really loving and kind and caring to ourselves all the time, and not make those jokes about ourselves, our age, our weight, our looks, whatever. We've got to let all that go. It's really important.
And we use expressions that like when you said that, don't sweat the small stuff, that it's immediate. Why is she sweating the small stuff? What small stuff is getting under her skin that is not being allowed to let go?
Yeah, okay, and that small stuff builds into really big stuff.
Henry, remember Henry?
Yes, exactly.
The bucket gets full.
Thank you, Helen. Helen's got to go. Oh, by the way, Helen said, Helen's from New Zealand. She said she was going to read your blog to her children, her young children.
Oh,
good. You know, maybe it's a way of saying, come on, guys, now listen to this blog.
Yeah.
So thank you, Helen, for being with us. It's always a treat. And Carolyn says that she was in hospital 25 years ago, been that way ever since. Why did you go to hospital? If you're quite happy for us to share that on air. Fortunately, I haven't been on top of things and that happy, unfortunately, I think she means ever since. A lot of problems and fears, so I don't know where to start. Well, this is where Marney is so great for you. Marney is so down to earth with all her knowledge, her wisdom, working with the angels, etc. But she's got that real earth-based wisdom as well. So what can you say to our lovely Carolyn? She had a burst appendix, which they misdiagnosed.
Okay.
Look at that. Yep.
And that's when the sweating started.
Yep.
This is our sweating lady.
It's been that way ever since. She's been that way ever since.
All right. So that's, I mean, sweat is you break into a sweat when you're in fear. Okay, when your appendix burst, you're fearful of it, especially 25 years ago, she wouldn't know what was going on. It would have been an emergency. So there's a lot of healing has to go on there. So she really needs to take herself back to the time 25 years ago and tell herself that she's okay, because she knows she's okay because she's here. Okay, but if she can go back to 25 years ago and support the body to say, I'm okay. Now there's a shell. Scallop shell essential oil, scallop shell essence is something that's talking about.
Is that one of yours, Marney?
Yeah, so I'm just going to read. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Scallop. Scallop replaces fear and distrust of the future with faith and trust. It calms repetitive thinking. So,
okay, so a bit more information, honey. Hang on, a little bit more information while you're doing that, because something else might come in. She says she's now got MDS, which is a bone marrow problem. She thinks came from that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hormonal stuff going on there too. But if she can go back, if she can take herself back to that 25 years ago and say to the body, well, look, yes, that was then and it was fearful and it's scary, but I am still alive and I'm coping. And see whether she can calm what happens. So maybe do the hand thing on her appendix scar. And the other thing for scarring is the figure eights. You know, the universal sign, just that upside down 8. Do some figure eights over the appendix scar as well. And that will, because when you have trauma, the skin doesn't heal properly sometimes. It goes, it's out of sync. So just think of patting a cat. You pat a cat one way, it's really nice. You pat a cat the other way, it's not so nice for either you or the cat. So sometimes your skin is like that as well. So I'd be getting her to use a flat of her hand like that and doing the figure eights gently over the skin area. And look, you know if you're doing it the right way, even if you're not trained, you think, oh, I don't like that. Well, go the other way. Go backwards.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, and Carol, I wonder if you've got something to share with Carolyn. The other thing that came in very strongly when Marney was speaking is it's really important to forgive the doctors who misdiagnosed you, because this is the seat of where a lot of healing can take place, because unforgiveness, even though when we look at it, you say, oh, yeah, I don't blame you. When we step out of blame and recrimination, because the only person suffering 25 years on is you.
Yeah.
So it's not about what they did was right or wrong. It's about if you can find a way, and if you don't know Ho'oponopono, it's so simple. Hold them in your mind, even if you don't know what they look like. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. This is a proven method of deep, deep healing and release and rejuvenation. Oh,
Jasmine essential oil or flowers will help you with that, because it was feeling fearful, but you need to go back to trusting, and that's a little bit to your body as well. So you need to trust your body to know what it needs to heal. So jasmine either as an oil, which is usually easily sourced at any health food shop, or as the flower. So it doesn't always have to be the oil, it can be the flower as well. So Google, if you can't find the flower, Google it and get a photo of the picture of jasmine.
Okay.
And this is forgiveness is a very big thing. And just because you forgive someone, it doesn't mean you have to forget it. That by forgiving them, it doesn't wipe it forever from your memory. But you don't have to hold it close to you, and you don't have to have it in that place that's there all the time. We all have things that have happened in our lives that we need to forgive the person for, and then forgive yourself for feeling that way towards them, because forgiving yourself is very healing. It's not the easiest to do. It's easier to forgive other people. But if you can forgive yourself for feeling the way you did, and forgive yourself for just what's happening in your life now, you'll find it changes your whole energy field, and your intuition and all of those things can come back into the place they need to be now.
So true. And even if when you start the work it doesn't feel like it's authentic, it's still important to keep going. Just trust that. Just trust the process. Now, I'm probably botching this story, but there was a man, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, a doctor, and he worked in, I think it was an asylum in Hawaii. Heard of this practice? He sat every day with all the patient files, every day. Didn't even see them. Every day. Oh, I just get so emotional about this. Every day he did a Ho'oponopono with every single person, and everyone went home. Everyone went home well.
Well, he was the Ho'oponopono was from Hawaii, wasn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Hawaiian prayer.
So that's a powerful, beautiful example of he didn't even see these people.
No.
How strong it is to work in the energetic field with forgiveness, and it is so life changing for us. And that's not even taking into account what's happening in the collective field, right? So it's beautiful.
Identifying a fear and then accepting that it is or it isn't can also help you to move forward, because then you don't focus on it quite as much. So it's that identifying of a word. So what word comes through to you, and trust that the word that you hear is the one you need to hear, because the angels are very good. They're very clear.
Very good. Now, Carolyn has added a little bit more, because we're sort of over time now. Carolyn says, okay, so she thought she had I'm not quite sure what that's about, Carolyn. I'm sorry, but she's been chemical sensitive ever since and smell sensitive. She's got infected lymph glands from it, so there's a lot of healing to be done. And she's allergic to flowers, so the jasmine's out for her.
But you can have the picture. Sorry? As I said, it doesn't have to be the flower. It can be the picture. All the words. So when I was reading the story of Jasmine, Jasmine said, when you're faced with unseemingly unresolvable emotional challenges and feeling fearful, the exotic beauty of Jasmine will dissolve those fears, tenderly building trust while pouring its jeweled light into your heart.
There you go. So it's not just about the physical aspect of the flower.
Sometimes
that's one aspect.
Yeah. And people with autoimmune conditions often have an intolerance to certain chemicals and even vitamins and minerals. Certain colours show as overwhelming. So be aware of that as well. But I do believe you need to do a really good detox. So it's definitely a detoxification.
Yeah.
So make sure you get some proper assistance with that.
Go to a naturopath and see what they can do for you as well.
So it's not always advisable just to do these things on our own because, you know, so get yourself a good naturopath and, you know, some good professional advice. And Carolyn says, okay, get a picture. That's exactly right, Carolyn. You've got it now. If you go away with nothing else but that today, I feel like it's going to be a doorway for you. So she says yes and send some love our way. So that's fantastic, Carol. So thrilled that you joined us today, and it's no accident that you were here. It's no accident that any of you were here. Now, when you are watching this at any stage in the future, or if you are listening to this as the podcast, which you can easily access at angelheartlisten.com, you will find that you will pick up things. And if you listen to it 10 times, you'll hear something new 10 times, or something will really come in strongly for you. So trust yourself. Wonderful. Marnie, you're awesome.
Thank you. I've got a spray called that. I'm awesome is one of my sprays.
Yes, Marnie makes fantastic sprays, angel sprays. Shell, you do shell essences, don't you?
Yeah.
You can work with money easily no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, I do online now. So, just give me a bell.
She's real go-getter now. She's online. She's doing the
I know. That's no stopping me. So, we all have to adapt and pivot, all right? So
adapt and pivot. That's it. Exactly. So, KiniQue.com. Get your money as you'll find money on Facebook, on YouTube, and hey, we love money. We're grateful.
I love you guys. So it's been a lovely partnership.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's great. Carol Ann, thank you for sharing your wisdom as well, of course.
Great. I've loved being here and connecting up with Marnie again, and I'm sure we're going to do it again and again and again. So it's been great. Thank you for sharing everything you did today, Marnie. It's been wonderful.
It's my pleasure.
And this afternoon at 3:30 Brisbane time, I have the great good fortune and pleasure of being on the show with Silva on her show here on our Angel Heart Radio Facebook page and on our YouTube page. And we're going to be speaking about death and the before, the after, the spiritual aspects of it, just so much about what it means for us. And it's really exciting because it's in Italian and English.
All right. There you go.
Very exciting. So I love it. And Silva's got some wonderful things to share. Her mum recently crossed over as her beloved cat, Pixie, just crossed over as well. She's had some really amazing experiences since then. So that'll be available if you can't join us live at any time on our Angel Heart Radio Facebook page. And of course, we've got Annie, and then Marnie is with Annette next week.
Yep.
At 10 o'clock Brisbane time. So there will be square, everyone.
Lovely.
It is. So do it.
It is.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
No. Caroline, what have you got to say?
Sorry, beg your pardon?
What have you got to say? It's your turn to say it.
It's my turn to say it. You will come back now.
See ya. Lots of love, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Love.
Bye.
Bye.